In his final days of rule, the old Danish king Harald Wartooth faced the harsh truth of his own death. On what seemed like his deathbed, Harald was haunted by visions of a bleak afterlife in the icy, abandoned lands of Niflheim, far from Valhalla's warrior paradise, where the air rang with the clash of swords and the anthems of the dead. Driven by fear of this destiny, he devised a plan both daring and ruthless. He called upon his nephew, Sigurd Hring, King of Sweden, offering him a challenge disguised as a family obligation and the chance to fight with honor. This plan, grim yet straightforward, was to stage a massive duel between relatives, pretending it was a noble pursuit for a valiant death, thus preventing Harald from the disgrace of dying from old age. Saxo Grammaticus, a Danish historian whose writings blur the line between actual history and mythical tales, tells us that both rulers began their grim preparations with intense determination. Over 7 years they gathered armies, each reportedly 200,000 strong, no mere foot soldiers but legends in their own right, celebrated throughout the Northlands for their courage and ferocity. When the destined day came, Harald, even though elderly and nearly blind, became a terrifying presence on the battlefield. Armed with a sword in each hand and driven by the fear of his imminent end, he sliced through his foes, his blades eager for the blood that would secure his path to Valhalla. The battle was catastrophic, a frenzy of metal and death that ended the lives of 15 kings and as many as 40,000 men, their bodies strewn across the Brevelier fields like a blanket of flesh and iron. Legend tells us it wasn't Sigurd's strike that killed Harald, but the intervention of Odin, the All-Father himself. This divine act at the end of Harald's life provided a fitting climax for a king obsessed with his own legend. He was taken not by simple death, but by the strategic designs of the gods he wished to join. After hearing of Harald's demise, Sigurd, with both relief and gravity, ended the combat. He quickly found his uncle's body and horse amidst the devastation and hastily built a funeral pyre, a magnificent blaze worthy of a royal ascent to Valhalla. Watching the flames soar skyward, Sigurd likely pondered the grim spectacle he had engaged in, a drama filled with ambition and the harsh demands of legacy and honor, all grounded in the brutal realities of power and the stark fear of being forgotten. Aesir-Vanir War. In the rich tales of Norse mythology, we find two distinct groups of gods, the Aesir and the Vanir. Their stories typically show them living together in harmony, so much so that it's often hard to tell them apart. Yet before there was peace, there was conflict, and it seems even gods aren't immune to war. The trouble started with Freya, a Vanir goddess and a master of enchanting sorcery. Disguised as Hyder, she entered Asgard, the fortress of the Aesir. There, her magical skills caused a stir among the Aesir gods. They were enamored by her powers and what those could achieve for them. But when they realized that embracing such magic went against everything they stood for, their admiration turned to blame. They accused Freya of causing their moral decay and tried to eliminate her by setting her on fire 3 times. Miraculously, each time, she was reborn from her ashes. This series of events fueled a deep-seated hatred between the Vanir and Aesir, setting the stage for an explosive confrontation. War broke out, fierce and prolonged, a testament to the intense rivalries among divine beings. As the war dragged on, both sides grew tired of the relentless fighting, realizing the battle was leading nowhere. Finally, battered and exhausted, they agreed to a truce. This ceasefire was not so much a celebration of peace, but a mutual surrender to fatigue, a reluctant acceptance that their conflict had no victor, only survivors weary from battle. What can we take away from this divine conflict? The Aesir-Vanir War, with its dramatic clashes and legendary warriors, reflects our own world's endless wars, where even the mightiest can embody the pettiest of human traits. This mythological war wasn't just about magical supremacy and the gods displaying human imperfections, jealousy, revenge, and pride. Amazonomachy. The Amazonomachy, an iconic conflict from Greek mythology, vividly illustrates the battles between the Greeks and the Amazons, a tribe of formidable female warriors. This saga is immortalized in the ancient Athenian art scattered across Greece, reflecting a society both fascinated and threatened by powerful women. In Athens, the western metopes of the Parthenon, perched atop the Acropolis, showcase this legendary battle. Here, the Amazons are depicted not just as adversaries, but as a force invading Attica, suggesting a narrative of foreign peril and heroic defense crafted to inspire and unify the Athenian people under the guise of divine sanction and civic pride. The imagery on the Parthenon, a marvel of cultural propaganda, ensures that every carved figure, every chiseled line on the marble, reinforces the idea of the heroic Greek male defending the civilized world from these so-called barbaric women. Moreover, Athena Parthenos' shield, a magnificent Athena statue crafted from gold and ivory, features a scene capturing a defeated Amazon. This depiction not only glorifies Athenian victory, but subtly underscores the perceived natural order, the divine sanctioning of male dominance and female subjugation, framed as a just outcome of the conflict. Further from Athens, the Temple of Apollo at Bassae holds reliefs depicting two lesser-known Amazonomachis, the Trojan and the Heraclean. These panels delve into the narrative of Heracles' ninth labor, retrieving the belt from Hippolyta, the Amazon queen. The tales serve as a conduit for showcasing Greek heroism and cunning over foreign savagery. Heracles' quests provide moral and cultural justifications for Greek dominion over the other. Additionally, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus contains yet another portrayal of this myth. It features Heracles in a dominant pose, clutching an Amazon by her hair and readying his club for a death blow. This violent imagery is a stark representation of the Greek ethos celebrating conquest and subjugation, symbolically reinforcing male superiority and female inferiority through mythic allegory. These artistic representations, spanning several significant historical and religious sites, were not mere decorative choices, but deliberate political tools. They provided a narrative that justified dominance over any other, including internal elements within Greek society that threatened the status quo, such as empowered women. War of Vessosus and Tanausis. According to Jordanes, a historian renowned for his records of Gothic wars, there emerges a tale of fierce battle, prominently highlighting the raw clash between aggressors and defenders. In this historic clash, the Goths, led by their king, Tanausis, confronted the Egyptians, who were propelled into conflict by their own king, Vessosus, after he impulsively declared war. The Egyptians, driven by ambition and perhaps a misplaced sense of superiority, advanced towards Gothic territories, only to meet their fate at the Phasis River. Here, Tanausis had strategically positioned his forces. With a blend of strategic brilliance and brutal efficiency, the Goths engaged the invaders, ultimately enveloping Vessosus' troops in a devastating defeat. This battle not only halted the Egyptian advance but severely weakened their fighting spirit, delivering a resonant blow to Vessosus' ambitions. Following this stark defeat, a battered Vessosus had no choice but to withdraw. The weight of failure overshadowed his return to Egypt. However, it was his own foresight in fortifying his borders that spared him from total disaster. The Nile River, with its formidable and impassable waters, together with the massive walls and fortifications previously erected by Vessosus, likely in anticipation of such calamitous days, prevented Tanausis from pursuing the Egyptians into their own land to deliver a final, annihilating strike. These natural and constructed physical barriers acted as the last line of defense, safeguarding the remnants of the Egyptian forces from total obliteration on their own soil. Thwarted by these robust defenses, Tanausis was compelled to cease his pursuit. The Gothic king, his hunger for conquest only intensified by the near-total victory, steered his ambitions towards new territories. He left Egypt, leaving behind a king shielded by the vast embrace of the Nile, to initiate a campaign that would see him attempting to carve his legacy across the broader landscapes of Asia. This new initiative was set to demonstrate not merely conquest, but also the resilience and strategic depth of the Gothic armies. Battle of Bangquan. The first recorded battle in China was between the Yellow Emperor, Huangdi, and the Flame Emperor, Yandi, around 2500 BCE. This epic showdown was the result of escalating conflicts among various nomadic tribes due to overcrowding and migration. As the population under the Flame Emperor swelled, his tribes were constantly on the move, seeking new territories. This relentless expansion led to frequent and fierce skirmishes with local tribes. Outnumbered and overwhelmed, these smaller groups faced the threat of being completely absorbed by the larger Yan tribe, losing their identities and their lands in the process. With no options left, these smaller tribes sought help from Huangdi, the Yellow Emperor, whose own realm was under threat from Yandi's aggressive advances. This plea for help set the stage for a massive battle at Bangquan, where the fates of many hung in the balance. The battle was intense and pivotal, ending in a crushing defeat for the Yan army. The Flame Emperor Yandi didn't just lose the battle, he was also assassinated, bringing a bloody and abrupt end to his reign. Following this dramatic climax, the conquered tribes were forced to swear loyalty to Huangdi, effectively erasing their former allegiances and identities to form a new unified group under Huangdi's rule, known as the Yan Huang Zisun peoples. While marking Huangdi's rise as a dominant power, this conflict also paints a picture of the brutal reality of ancient tribal conflicts. It wasn't just a battle for territory, it was a fight for survival, identity, and power. The Battle of Bangkwan wasn't just about who won or lost, but about how the victor reshaped the cultural landscape and dictated the people's futures. Trojan War. The famous Battle of Troy, captured by Homer in the 8th century BCE epic The Iliad, is not just a story of heroes and deceit, but a sharp critique on the follies of human wants and divine meddling. The war began with an infamous romance, when Helen of Sparta was seduced, though many say kidnapped, by Trojan prince Paris with help from the goddess Aphrodite, who promised him the most beautiful woman in the world for winning a divine beauty contest. This celestial interference set off a lengthy and vengeful siege by the Greeks against Troy. The conflict depicted in the Iliad was brutal, driven by revenge and wounded pride more than noble causes. Menelaus, the Spartan king and Helen's husband, rallied his Greek allies to recover his honor, resulting in a siege that lasted over 10 years. Through countless fierce clashes and heroic stands, where warriors like Achilles and Hector became icons of valor, the war's conclusion was marked not by heroic combat, but by sly trickery. The Greeks, unable to break Troy's defenses honestly, concocted a plan involving a gigantic wooden horse, large enough to hide a group of soldiers inside. This horse, left as a deceptive gift for the Trojans in a fake gesture of surrender, was taken inside the fortified city walls. The Trojans, deceived by their own arrogance and the joy of a supposed victory, overlooked the trick. At night, amidst their drunken celebrations, the Greek soldiers hidden inside the horse quietly came out. They killed the guards, opened the city gates for their armies, and led a slaughter that obliterated Troy, concluding the war in a massacre instead of through an honorable fight. This ending of the Trojan War, with victory achieved through a deceitful wooden horse, serves as a stark reminder of how low the quest for victory, revenge, or love can bring even the greatest to stoop. The Greeks' victory earned them not glory but notoriety, highlighting the disastrous consequences of human deceit masked as military brilliance. Did the Greeks' use of the Trojan horse glorify cleverness, or was it merely an act of deceit? Comment your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more.